Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Linda Shea, Division Director for the Frederick County Division of Animal Control. With me is Randy Cooper, and every week on Pet Pals we showcase 10 of our adoptable animals that are looking for homes through our shelter. First little guy, and the only dog this week that we're going to take a look at, is this little guy. This is Bo. We named him Bo. He came to us as a stray from Frederick City, right off of Heather Lane. So if you are missing a dog that looks like this, if you have a neighbor that's been looking for this dog, if you see flyers in your neighborhood, please direct folks to come to the shelter. A lot of times people don't realize that we are the one and only shelter in Frederick County. We serve all of Frederick County from Emmitsburg to Mount Airy to Adamstown and beyond. So if you have an animal that's missing within Frederick County, you want to make sure that you at least phone call in. But if you're missing your pet, the best thing to do is to come and to look for it. But Bo is about 7 to 8 years old. He's a little guy. He's just over 5 pounds, so it would be an excellent lap dog. We have him down as a terrier mix. And cute little guy. He is definitely a little independent. He's a little cautious, so we're not sure what his history is, but definitely if he's been running at large as a stray, that can be a little bit intimidating for a tiny dog. But other than that, we've brought him up to speed on all the vaccines that he needs. One thing that we provide to all of our dogs that come to the shelter, we test them for heartworm disease, for Lyme disease, for Ehrlichia, and for anaplasma, and he has tested negative for all of those things. We also provide our dogs preventatives, a distemper combination vaccine, and also a bordetella or a kennel cough vaccine preventative. So we do all those things because we take in about 5,000 animals every year, and we don't know the history of strays. We don't know if Bo has a menu of vaccines on board or not, so we do what we can with the information we have to make sure that he stays as healthy as possible. He has already been neutered. We will go ahead and we've microchipped him, so he would be a relatively quick adoption, and he is adorable. A lot of times our smaller dogs get adopted really quickly, so if you're interested in Bo, you want to make sure and that you stop by the shelter pretty quickly. So this pretty girl is Duchess. Duchess is about 4 years old. She is your basic domestic long hair. So if you're going to own a cat like this, they are beautiful, but sometimes they cannot manage that coat all by themselves. Short-haired cats typically are independent as far as needing to be brushed or combed. They don't tend to develop mats, but long-haired cats you need to maintain or help maintain. So with Duchess, you want to make sure that you know your way around a comb and a brush. You want to make sure that you are familiar with the vacuum cleaner. And you want to make sure that you consider how tolerant you are of pet fur. She is absolutely gorgeous, and I think people just look at how beautiful she is and fail to remember that cats have dander. A long-haired cat like hers, she's going to leave white fur on your pant leg as you're heading out the door with black pants. There's going to be some white hair on there, your furniture, so something to consider. She was turned in, apparently they'd had her for about 10 months, and she wasn't getting along with the other cat in the household. And sometimes it can take adult cats up to a year, sometimes longer, to cohabitate nicely with another cat in the household. So as far as cat owner, you want to make sure that you are patient with that process. What we recommend here for introductions to help them become a little more successful is to separate the newcomer either in a powder room or a small bedroom away from your existing cat for a little bit of time. We recommend 2 weeks or so. And during that time, they can get to know each other from a safe distance. They're not directly interacting with one another. They know that each other's existence, and sometimes you get the hissing and the spitting between the doors. You can ask us. We've got all sorts of tips and tricks to make that introduction successful once you're finally going to put them face to face. So sometimes, and we're not sure in the case of Duchess if they just jump the gun a bit on the introduction, but she's here now, again, beautiful, social, friendly, so we are looking forward to getting her adopted. So this handsome little guy is Sid, and much to his dismay, we do have an e-collar on, and he's not happy about that, but he did arrive with ear mites, which we've treated, and he was scratching at his ears. So we provided him with that sort of protection until his ears have healed. He is about 10 to 12 months old, came to us as a stray from Oak Drive in Mount Airy. So again, if you're missing a pet, you want to check the shelter. We take in almost 5,000 animals every year. That breaks down to about 12 to 13 animals every day. And sometimes we get folks that are missing their pets. They come to the front desk and will ask us something like, have you gotten any cats in? And we just smile, because certainly by mid-afternoon on any given day, we've taken in about 10 to 11 cats. Especially this time of year, we consider it kitten season. So it's not unusual for folks to show up with boxes of orphaned kittens with moms and babies that they found in their yard. So again, if you have a pet cat, you want to make sure that you get it spayed, neutered, microchipped if you can, and we have clinics twice a year or so, and other places have clinics. That's the 100% way to get your pet back if it ever gets lost. Microchips, unlike collars, don't break off, they don't get lost. So, but Sid, you can tell he's very affectionate. He's got a great temperament considering his age. And he's about almost 12 pounds. It's deceptive. He looks more slender than he actually is. But we've brought him up to speed on vaccines. We've treated the ear mites. We've put him on antibiotics. He did have a scratch on his ear, again, from the ear mites being just itchy. So that's what caused that. But he's in good health overall. Good little guy. And again, 10 to 12 months is not old at all. He is what we consider a juvenile, and cats can live an average of 15 years, especially if they get good care and if they're kept indoors. So again, this is Sid, little cream tabby looking for a forever home. So this is Elliot. Elliot came to us as a stray from Buckystown Pike. He is your basic domestic short hair. He's got that very distinct black and white bicolor pattern to him. We have him down as about 2 to 3 years old. He's almost 8 pounds. We've gone ahead and microchipped him. He did come into us already neutered, so we know that at some point somebody cared enough about Elliot to have him neutered, but unfortunately he's been here at the shelter now. He's on our adoption floor, available for adoption. So again, we can't stress it enough. If you are missing a pet, a dog, a cat, a snake, ferret, you want to make sure that you walk yourself or drive yourself over to the shelter to look through the animals that we have. This time of year, the cats are all unique and individual, but sometimes if you're describing a black and white cat, we might have 4 or 5 in our building at any given time. So it's really important for you to come here, identify your pet if you're missing your pet. One of the questions we get from folks is, how do you prove that when someone says that's my pet before returning it to an owner? Well, we ask for veterinary records. We ask for photos of your pet, and usually folks are able to comply with that. We also ensure that if you tell us that your pet is current on a rabies vaccine, we're the folks that are in charge of enforcing that. So we would need to make sure that that is correct. And also, cats and dogs in Frederick County must be county licensed. It's like registering your pet, and that coincides with their rabies vaccine. So if you have a 1-year rabies vaccine for your pet, you'll purchase a license that coincides with the rabies expiration date. If you have a 3-year rabies vaccine for your pet, you have the choice of getting up to a 3-year license if that's appropriate. So Elliot is here now. We've gone ahead with, as we do with all of our cats, we vaccinated him. We've tested him for feline leukemia and FIV, and he has tested negative for both of those things. And as you can tell, he's got a great personality, great temperament. So again, this is Elliot, about 2 to 3 years old, came into us as a stray, and he is looking for an adoptive family. The last little kitty we're going to take a look at before we cut to break is Eclipse. Eclipse came to us back at the early part of April. She was owner surrendered, and the reason she was surrendered says she had been a stray originally, and the person kept her for a few weeks, was unable to locate her owner, and surrendered her here to the shelter. So if you're missing domestic short-haired black female cat from prior to April 7th, you want to make sure and check the shelter, because things like this do happen. Sometimes people will find stray animals And instead of calling in a found report, instead of bringing them to animal control, they're a little hesitant to do that, so they might hang on to an animal in their home trying to locate the owner, and when they're unable to, after some time has passed, then they show up here. So this is Eclipse, so essentially had been owned, but and we consider her previously owned, but in looking at her history, more likely had been a stray for a while. She's about 2 to 3 years old, and we brought her up to speed on vaccines, including a rabies vaccine. She is just a little under 6 pounds. When she first came into the shelter, she did have an ear infection. She did develop an upper respiratory infection, and that's part of the challenge when you've got a shelter and you've got so many animals, especially so many cats this time of year. It's kind of like a kindergarten class. They tend to spread germs easily, and visitors, as much as we understand that visitors are well-intentioned, you might come to the shelter at this point in the year and see lots of signs that request that you not touch our cats. And spreading germs is as simple as just touching one cat, not sanitizing your hands, and then touching another one, and that can make the other one sick. You can tell every week when Randy is wrangling our kitties, he'll have a different towel on his lap, so he's not spreading germs that way. He also uses hand sanitizer between each cat, so we're not asking anything of the public that we don't ask of our valued volunteer to do the same thing. So we ask that you sanitize between cats, or just hold off on touching. But if you're really interested in adopting a cat, then certainly we can let you interact a little more closely than just seeing them through the bars. But again, this is Eclipse. She is recovered from her upper respiratory, she is recovered from her ear infection, and now she is looking for another lap to be on. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back to Pet Pals, we're going to take a look at 5 more kitties that are looking for forever homes through the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.
Hi, I'm Tracy, and this is Catherine. We are Frederick County 911 dispatchers, and we're here to tell you what to expect when dialing 911.
We're on the line to listen, and we also have important instructions to give you. Your 911 operator needs to get essential information from you as quickly as possible by asking the following questions in this order.
What is the address of the emergency so we can send the right help to the right location? What is the phone number you're calling from? If the line disconnects, we may need to call you back. What is your name so we can address you properly? And tell me exactly what happened. Asking these questions allows operators to start dispatch to emergencies quickly.
Your 911 operator is often working closely with one or more dispatchers, obtaining important information which is relayed to responders who are on the way to your location while you are still on the phone.
This process is repeated on each call to ensure responders get to each emergency as quickly and safely as possible with the right information to provide the best service they can.
Law enforcement, fire and rescue, and other responders rely on 911 operators and dispatchers to obtain specific information that varies with each type of call. Sometimes it may seem as though your 911 operator is asking a series of unnecessary questions, but in fact this information is vital for getting the right help sent to the right place. Often, help is already on the way while your 911 operator is talking to you.
While emergency crews are responding, dispatchers continue to provide them with updated information gathered by your 911 operator.
Also, your 911 operator may be able to provide you with important life-saving direction, from how to safely exit a building on fire to CPR instruction, providing important information for staying safe and out of danger during a vehicle accident, as well as helping a caller deliver a baby.
For more information, visit frederickcountymd.gov/911 or call the non-emergency number at 301-600-1603.
Are you a fan of Facebook? Hooked on Twitter? Now you can stay connected to County Executive Jan Gardner using your favorite social media platforms. Like, follow, and subscribe today.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We've got 5 more kitties we're going to take a look at. And sometimes folks will come in and be disappointed because we don't have a lot of dogs this time of year. And that's actually a good thing. That means that people are keeping their pets, that they are being returned in the field to their owners if dogs are running at large. But to me, that just speaks a lot of the commitment to pets in the Frederick community. So that's one reason why we don't have so many dogs. It does benefit the cats this time of year if we don't have a lot of dogs to showcase, because then we can showcase more of our kitties that are always the more needy species in any shelter. So this little guy is Mickey. Mickey came to us as a stray from Baker Place in Frederick. He is already neutered, so that means that somebody cared enough about him prior to him coming here to get him neutered. Without any history though, coming in as a stray, we went ahead and provided him vaccines that he needed. He is already microchipped, and we've gone ahead and tested him for feline leukemia and FIV, and he has tested negative for both of those things. He's only about 18 months old, so that puts him also in that juvenile category. So if you're looking for a kitten, but you are smart enough to want to get beyond the 8-week-old nonsense kitten, 18 months is actually a great age. They're still young, they're still playful. He is very social, very sweet, and you can tell, similar to Eclipse, the cat we just looked at, very agreeable to sitting on Randy's lap. He is a big boy, just about 11 pounds, and he's still growing, so he might get to be about 12 or 13 pounds, just very long-bodied. We don't have a lot of information on Mickey. Again, came to us as a stray. So one thing that we recommend if you're looking at incorporating a pet into your home, we do color code our cats, dogs, and other animals here. And Mickey is color-coded orange, so that means he's not really that young, feisty little kitten, but nor is he a lap cat of a senior age, so he's sort of borderline in temperament. But if you're looking for a younger cat with a great temperament, Mickey is actually an excellent choice for that. This is Kamina. Kamina is a beautiful calico. She's predominantly white, but she's got the black and orange spots on her. She's about a year old. She came in previously owned. She came in, looks like already spayed and microchipped. And I guess the person, so Kamina came from the shelter originally and was returned to the shelter after, looks like about after 3 years. So she's about 4 years old now. No, she's about 1 year old now. I guess they adopted her just a few months ago, and they developed allergies. And sometimes that is part of the problem if you've never owned a pet. We do have an adoption process. It's an educational interview that we will go through the specifics of the animal. We'll talk about scenarios. One thing that we recommend with all of our pets, and I know a lot of potential adopters that don't work in sheltering are advocates of having your pet sleep with you, and they just think that's endearing, and it is very endearing. However, if you are sleeping at night and you have a cat like Kamina on your pillow, that could cause some problems. Even if you don't have full-blown allergies, if you're sensitive at all to having hair around your face, hair on your pillow, that can create a problem. So we recommend that if you have any concerns, certainly have some rooms that are off limits to your pets. Cats are very small critters. Kamina is just about 10 pounds, so she's on the larger size of the cat spectrum of weights, but nonetheless, she doesn't necessarily have to be in your room at night, and having some rooms off limits from pets allows those rooms to be relatively dander-free, little safe places if you're developing allergies, or if you've got just hypersensitivity certain times of the year. And certainly your bedroom you need to reconsider if you're going to have an animal allowed in there or not. That's why we have doors on our rooms. But Kamina is here, so after a short while had been out. So again, give that consideration. Before you're adopting a pet, you want to make sure that everybody in your home is on board as to where the pet's going to live, predominantly stay, and then if you do develop allergies, how you might handle that without needing to return the pet to us. This is Sapphire. Sapphire came to us as a stray from All Saints Street in Frederick. So again, if you're missing a cat from that area, have a neighbor that's missing a cat from that area, you want to make sure that you contact the shelter. Sapphire's only about 1 to 2 years old. She did have a round of upper respiratory infection, and again, we've had that going through the shelter, and it's as simple as having a cat come in with a significant upper respiratory, and the germs get spread to another cat. Sometimes in cats, just like people, you might be harboring an illness, and it might take a couple of days up to a week maybe for you to actually exhibit signs that you're sick. So the same thing happens with cats. So there are times when we are interacting with one cat that might be harboring illness, we touch another cat and another one in the process of getting them to the adoption floor, and in that process, that's when those germs are getting spread. So again, right now we've got signs on most of our cages. When you visit the shelter, if you would use hand sanitizer between cats, please kind of hold off on touching cats unless you're interested in adopting. And then if you are interested in interacting any more than just looking at them through the cage, we're going to offer you a towel for your lap, just like Randy. And again, every week, if we've got some longtime Pet Pal watchers on board, you'll know that this is not something new. It's something that we do every day to prevent our cats from getting sick. But Sapphire did have an upper respiratory infection. She has recovered now. We did already go ahead and spay her, microchip her, so she would be a relatively quicker adoption. And she is a beautiful Steel Point Siamese. So this kitty is named Haley. Haley is about 8 years old, and she's an example. We had seen Eclipse earlier in the show that was looked like Haley, domestic short-haired black cat, but Eclipse was much calmer, much more of a lap cat. You can look at Haley, and even though she looks similar, more active, more interested in what's going on in her environment. So there is a big difference. Every animal in our shelter, every animal everywhere is unique. So even though you might come to a shelter and want a brown tabby or a Siamese, it really is, as with any relationship, it's their personality that's going to make that last. So you want to make sure that if you're looking at among the cats, that you give some thought to thinking beyond what they actually look like, and give more thought and attention to their temperament and personality, because again, the two cats that look very similar just act very differently. But Haley, again, is a little bit older. She's about 8 years old. She's about 11 pounds. We have her color-coded orange, and she is also another cat that was returned to our shelter due to allergies. So again, give some thought if you have allergies or sensitivity in your family to dander, to fur, to dust, to anything like that. You want to give some thought prior to bringing in an animal. When we adopt out our animals, we do everything we can to have those conversations. Sometimes we can sound discouraging if you're describing a home environment that's not going to be tolerant of a cat. We'll discourage you from adopting, but that's in the pet's best interest. Cats can live again till 15 years. So Haley, at being only about 8 years old, has another half of her life to go through, and we're going to try to find her the best home we can to make that happen. The last little guy we're going to take a look at is Gobi. Gobi is a little boy, domestic short-haired brown tabby, and he came to the shelter back in March, and it is already May, so anybody who's familiar with Pet Pals or our shelter understands that that means that he came in as an underage kitten. He has been in foster care for the last 2 months, and finally he's reached that threshold of about 3 pounds where he is back in the shelter and able to be adopted. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines. A lot of folks, and you'll hear me say this again and again, if you've ever adopted one of our foster care kittens, you're sure to, when you need a second cat, that is what you'll go for again, because foster care kittens are well socialized. They've been in families for a little longer period of time. We have more information on them than we do with traditional strays that come in, and you can actually talk to the foster care provider about what they like to eat, what litter they like to use, what they're used to, and we of course know the families, so we can tell you that Gobi has been around preteens and friends and sort of a busy household, and has been just an active little guy in his foster care environment. The other thing I'll bring to your attention is the little frog towel that Randy has. We do take donations of anything animal related, but also towels and washcloths. Sometimes towels end up being one-use items. But we do use them to keep our cats comfortable, to keep our dogs comfortable. We do use washcloths to clean cages, and we do have a list of items that if you are interested in donating to us to help out the animals, we put everything to use, and things that we can't put to use, we have a pet food bank, we have rescues that we work with, so we really are pretty much free of wasting any of those donation items. But this is Gobi. He is just one of many of the kittens that are just starting to come back from foster care, that are coming in from private citizens, that are being found in, on properties without their moms, that is looking for a forever home. Thanks for joining us on Pet Pals. That wraps it up for this week. If you've seen any animals this week that you're interested in visiting or adopting, you want to make sure you stop by the shelter. Have a great week, and we will see you next time.
Each year, the Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center serves thousands of animals in the community while working toward its mission, work that wouldn't be possible without the help of the many dedicated volunteers who donate their time to the division.
We utilize volunteers for foster care, working at the front desk, helping with events, in our in-house spay-neuter clinic. So volunteers come in and they have the ability to help with all aspects of shelter operations, but in the beginning, all start out at the same point. So the different programs specifically for volunteers, typically in-house, involves them socializing with animals. We at times have animals that live here over 100 days. So it's important that people come in and take dogs out for walks and play with them. It's important that cats have time maybe outside of their cage a little bit, but then also people are spending time petting them.
In addition to caring for animals, volunteers assist staff with customer service and cleaning duties. As they become more involved with the shelter, volunteers can take on different and more specialized roles.
These avenues may lead them to being a spay-neuter technician in our surgery room. It may mean that they help at our front desk with the administrative folks. I have individuals that go to events with me. So we go out into the public and try and raise awareness about what the shelter does and then what our goal and mission is in the community.
Frederick County Animal Control can never have too many volunteers. So if you're interested in taking the next step, here's what you need to know.
We basically ask that you be at least 10 years of age. So anyone who's 10 or older can volunteer with us. If you're between 10 years and 14 years of age, you do have to come with a parent or guardian who is also considered a trained volunteer. At 15, you can volunteer independently. So what we ask of volunteers is that you're able to participate in the program for at least 4 hours a month, and you visit us twice a month. So you can volunteer more than that, but that is the minimum for you to stay an active volunteer. People can sign up by volunteering several ways. Our in-house volunteers, they can come in, fill out an application, they'll be offered an orientation time, which orientation is the first step. That's non-committal. It's just an informational session of how the program works. Our website has my email address and a specific volunteer page that people can reach out that way.
For more information on how you can become involved in the Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center, visit frederickcountymd.gov/FCAC and click on the volunteer link, or contact Sean Snyder by email at ssnyder@frederickcountymd.gov or by phone at 301-600-1546.